What's up, you guys? Julian here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to do deep witch house like Akiauar and Lonown. To go along this video, you can grab this full template at the top of the description on my website. Definitely make sure to grab that, and let's get started. Alright, we're at 120 BPM, and the first thing we got up here is our kick. This kick's a little different from what you usually hear in like house music, right? This is honestly more of like a trap kind of kick. Like if you look at this waveform here and you know those kind of kicks, you can see it. It's literally just that. It's turned up quite a bit. Like if you look at all the levels here, you can see this is literally like one of the loudest things in the mix, right? But there's no processing on it except for what's on the group. So we start with that, then we got our bass line. So this is a pretty simple bass line. It's in the key of C sharp minor. So we got our root note here, right? It starts on that. It just slides down to another root note. We go root 3, 4, 6. Excuse me, 5. We go down to the 5th there. So it's pretty simple, but essentially you can see it spends the most time on the root and the 5th. So it kind of like grounds the bass. We got 2 layers, this one and this one. So for the first one, it's made with this instrument rack where we have 2 wavetables. I've got this one, just a super detuned saw, like 2 saw wave, super saw kind of sound, and then one with no unison. And you put those together, you just get one really full kind of unison saw that still has a bit of power. And then on that all together, we got a little bit of processing. So here's without it. With it, we're just using a little bit of drum bus. You can see this is only on 26%, but it's kind of just gluing these and making it a bit juicier and more full. And then we're also side chaining this to the kick. And then for the second bass layer, so this one actually is an instrument rack, but there's only 1 layer. It's just meant to add a bit more texture to the other one. Like the other one is the main one, but this just adds a little bit more. So this one's made with wavetable. I'm using this piano wavetable against the Synth digital. You can see as far as the matrix goes, there's no modulation. I got a low pass filter there. Again, it's just adding a bit more juice to the overall sound. Then we got a drum bus, a side chain, and a high pass. So without anything. There you go. Then we got the rest of our drums, which are really simple. This is where you can hear some of the deep house influence, right? So it's literally just like an open hi-hat, a clap, and then a 16th note hi-hat. You see on this hi-hat, on the open one, I turned the release up so it's a bit longer. Right, it sits really nice in the mix that way, and the clap's really long too. Like you hear that like tail in the clap. 16th note hi-hat, super short. I brought the sustain down a ton too. There you go. Now, I have the kick, bass, and drums in a group. If I turn that off, it's the same thing, but there's some type of glue kind of magic that I heard in these tracks. And this is how you do that. It's because the kick and bass and drums and all that stuff are all kind of getting saturated together, and the mid-range and high-end pushes against the low-end, and it creates that like beautiful kind of crunch, right? All that sound is, you could say it's distortion, but what it really is the distortion is just enhancing the amount that the low-end and the high-end are like pushing against each other. Then we got this lead. So, again, we're in the key of C sharp minor. What's cool about this one is it never quite hits C sharp, though. So that adds to that uneasy feeling where you have the bass very clearly defining the C sharp. But this main lead never quite hits the root note, right? We're doing 3rd, 9th, 4th, 5th. Right, we're just creating a rhythm with that, but there's no actual root note in there, so it kind of helps to add that uneasiness. Like if I add one, See, it kind of like grounds it. You actually don't want that. Other than that, the pattern is not any kind of transgading or anything. I listen to these tunes, all they're doing is it's in the MIDI. You can see I have the note lengths really particularly set to where it really creates that sound. You know, it's not happening with some kind of crazy audio gating or anything. It's just literally just the note length creates that. And then also the sound. So here's what it sounds like with no processing on it. Right, it's really simple and dry. I just have these two saw waves here, detuned quite a bit with a bit of unison and a little bit of vibrato. And then the glide, you really hear the glide. Also very important is setting the amplitude envelope. If you're using analog, it does, by default, it's going to be like that. Let's see, we just want this to be long and held out. Then I got a little bit of reverb. Some distortion. And a little bit of redux. Doing that, but I only have it at 34%. Sidechain, and then high pass. And then we have this bell. With no processing. So it plays a really simple pattern. It essentially just adds kind of like musical texture against the bass line and the lead. Right, and a bit of tension in the mix without fighting so much. So as far as this goes musically, it's actually starting on the root. We're kind of keeping the fifth in the middle here though. And it's actually just dun, 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 working down. And then we go fourth, fifth, fourth. So it's just like a drone essentially, but it's a drone with multiple notes. I've got this bell sound here, right? Like a live bell. I've turned the release up a little bit. We got some echo. I really like using the reverb on Ableton Echo too. That's a good trick because you can hear it's not so obvious reverb. It just gives a lot of space to the sound. Sidechain. And then high pass. And there you are. So that is how you make that type of music. Thank you very much for the support, guys. Everybody, make sure to like this video as well as subscribe. Let me know what you think of this video in the comments. Make sure to grab this template at the top of the description on my website. Thanks for the support, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.